What's up guys, Manu here, welcome back to the channel. Recently, I had the chance to test ride a motorcycle that I have been really curious about, and when the opportunity came, I just had to swing a leg over it and take it out for an unsupervised test ride through the traffic-riddled streets of where I live. This motorcycle is called the Bristol Bobber 650. If you don't know what this bike is all about, or what the hell is Bristol Motorcycles, well, neither did I, prior to seeing this brand pop up out of nowhere here in the Philippines a few years ago. In this video, I'll be giving you my honest first impressions of this motorcycle, and towards the end of this video, I'll be telling you my recommendations if this bike tickles your fancy. Take note, this is not a full-on review, but more of a first impression and a before you buy guide. Oh yeah, this was supposed to be a ride and talk kind of review, but my GoPro died, so voiceover style it is. Alright, before we proceed, if you are a Bristol Bobber owner or have experienced one for yourself and have something to add, personal opinions about this bike perhaps, feel free to post those in the comment section below and help add value to this topic. Special thanks to Bristol Motorcycles CEBU for allowing me to test ride this bike and for being the sponsor of our recent Pop Moto Town bike. I will put the links in the description below if you're curious about what they have in stock. Oh yeah, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like my content. And if you really want to support me in making more videos like this, I have my PayPal link listed below. With that out of the way, let's begin. So, first things first, what the hell is Bristol Motorcycles? Why does it sound so British? Where did this brand come from and where are they made? These are the questions that have bugged me prior to this test ride, and I'm sure you, the viewer, are also wondering. Now, according to motodeal.com.ph, Bristol is a Manila-based boutique motorcycle brand that builds vintage-style European motorcycles for all kinds of riders. The brand takes pride in its lineup of unique motorcycles, which are a mashup from different countries, featuring Italian-inspired design, electronics from an American company, technical components from Japan, and powertrain from Taiwan. Okay. The brand debuted in the local market in 2018, and SUZUKI Motorcycle Philippines is the official distributor since the brand entered the market. I believe this brand is unique here in the Philippines, but I could be wrong. I'm going to add all the links in the description below if you want to know more about what they are and so on and so forth. Okay, now for the Bobber 650, the bike that we have here. The Bristol Bobber is a British-styled motorcycle. In motorcycle terms, a bobber is a subcategory of the cruiser segment that has been stripped off of non-essential parts for reasons of making it lighter and improving performance. Now, this bike that we have here follows the general idea of what a bobber is, despite having all the legal requirements, and it has a striking resemblance to a more prominent motorcycle, which is the Triumph Bonneville Bobber. Very low seat, low handlebars, big gas tank, muffler on both sides, spoked wheels, and a luggage rack on the rear fender really makes it look like a vintage bobber at first glance, especially on the go. Build quality on this bike seems solid yet a bit rough. The points of contact such as the handlebar controls, the seat, and the foot pegs feel more like they are there for visuals. The plastic bits and pieces feel cheap, and if you focus on those things, it gives the Bristol Bobber a very modern yet crude industrial vibe. I do like the spoked tubeless wheels, chunky tires, this massive gas tank that has this premium look and feel to it, and the welds on this bike look very well done though. For comfort and ergonomics, I find the Bobber missing in some areas, especially in the reach to the handlebars and seat comfort. The bars are too low for me, and I find myself leaning forward, putting a bit of strain to my lower back. The seat itself is tiny and not comfortable at all, and I could use a bit more padding and width, especially where my nuts are. At the end of this test ride, I found myself, stretching myself and massaging my gooch because that's where most of my weight seems to be in this riding position. Reach to the ground is very, very manageable, especially for a guy my size. Take note, I'm 6'1" and I can flat foot this bike easily. Now, this issue with the ergonomics of the Bristol Bobber can be addressed with the help of a taller handlebar or a bar riser with a backwards offset, allowing you to shift your weight back and giving you an easier reach to the bars as well. I do like the foot pegs though, and they are positioned forward in a way that my legs are bent at a right angle, which is how I want them to be. The foot controls, however, are a bit weird, especially that heel-toe shifter that really requires some getting used to, not unless if you're used to this kind of shifter. Engine performance on the Bobber 650 reminds me a lot of another bike that has the exact same engine configuration and displacement. It's got decent low-end torque, perfect for darting in and out of traffic situations like this, and it's very manageable as well. I did notice a bit of blind spot in the lower RPM ranges, but that could be addressed. Maybe it's because of the restrictive exhaust. In terms of acceleration, this bike feels really smooth and predictable, and it definitely feels very similar to the Kawasaki Vulcan 650S, and I believe this is the exact same engine as found on that bike. In terms of handling, the Bristol Bobber is light and predictable. Despite my problems with the ergonomics, the bike is pretty flickable, as you can see here. Cornering clearance is a big issue for this bike, and if you are the kind of rider who likes to corner hard and deep, then this bike is not for you. Another thing that I do not like about this bike is the harsh suspension. It barely has enough travel to absorb the road imperfections, and you can feel every bump you run over. Couple that with a weird ergonomics, then you're in for a very harsh ride. Again, these things can be solved with aftermarket parts or with a bit of modification, but it's up to you actually. The braking system of this bike is probably one of my favorites. Despite having generic components, the dual disc brake front and the single disc rear are very responsive and have really good stopping power. This bike comes with ABS and it has great feedback, especially during sudden stops.
And I'm just gonna go straight up. This is Rama Avenue. We've seen this road a lot of times in my previous test rides.
So what can I say to sum up my experience with the Bristol Bobber 650? It's not perfect, and it's expected for a bike in this price range. Plus, this is a new brand, basically, that is unique here in the Philippines. It does have real-world engine performance that is entertaining for new and experienced riders looking for a budget-friendly yet stylish motorcycle for urban rides or for a cruise in the countryside. But if you're looking for a similarly priced bike that offers better ride comfort, cornering clearance, and you don't mind riding a confused looking motorcycle, then go check out my review on the Kawasaki Vulcan 650S. But if you really like this bike, the Bristol Bobber 650 is an awesome choice. It's just that it has some quirks and needs some attention in some areas, especially in the comfort and ergonomics area. I personally would recommend a taller handlebar, probably a taller T-bar or maybe ape hangers, and improve or modify the seat for added comfort. As for that clunky shifter, maybe, swap it out for a conventional one, not like this heel-toe shifter, not unless if you're okay with that though. Suspension would need some attention as well, probably a better shock at the rear to absorb the imperfections that you encounter on the road. Anyway, those are my 2 cents, and it's really up to you, basically.
That you are automatically acquainted with, it requires getting used to. That heel-toe shifter is kind of weird, really.
Anyway, that's it for this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. As always, see you next time. Bye.